Hey, what's going on, good people? It is Shamar with Alan Lux Studios, and we are back for another episode of The Spotlight. And today, we are shining the light on Rian Mack with Rian Mack Events. What's going on, Ryan? How you feeling?
I am feeling good. It's good to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Great to see you. Now, I'm going to officially shine the spotlight on you, so bear with me one second. Y'all, Ryan has over 10 years of experience in the events and design industry. She is a creative force behind Ryan Mack Events team. Having first recognized her passion for design and creation at at a young age growing up, where every small celebration quickly turned into an event. Ryan's eye for detail, coupled with the ability to integrate her client's vision, objective, and budget into every aspect of their events, has earned her a spot amongst an elite group of brand partners and clients worldwide in the sports, entertainment, automotive, financial, and media industries. Yo, how did I do with that, Ryan?
You did good. You
Okay,
nailed
okay.
it. I
Listen,
sounded important for a
you know what
second.
I'm saying? So, man, it's great talking to somebody that I have personal experience working with. And I've been to many of Ryan Mack events, and they're memorable. I remember everyone from the birthday parties, your personal birthday parties, to corporate events. They're immaculate. They're over the top, and not in a crazy type way, in a great way, right? Over the top, and there's people leave with a lasting impression. So I just want to know, firstly, how did you get started into this? You said young, so tell me a little bit about your background and how you got started.
So what's crazy is I have always had events from like a young age. I kind of had those parents that didn't love for me to go to anybody else's house, but they allowed me to throw things in my house. So just growing up, I had an end of year party every year where the whole school would come to my house at the end of the year. I would have just like Easter egg hunts. I remember my senior year in high school, my mom let me throw a huge Easter egg hunt at home where all the seniors came and she hid eggs, and inside had the little notes like where you would get like laundry detergent or towel sets to go off to college. But even though it was such a
Okay.
kiddie thing, she let me throw my spin on it to have fun. So I just kind of always had a creative outside the box mindset to just want to entertain people and have fun.
Right, right. So entertain people. So what made you want to take that on a level of your profession? It's like, hey, I want to do this for a living.
I'm gonna be honest. I went to school. I was a sports science major. I was a horrible student. I got through, but it was kind of like it was never my passion. So when I did go away to the military, I kind of got into meeting and events really on the military side, doing the welcome home ceremony for soldiers when they would come back from Iraq. And I worked a lot with the governor's office, like working with him, having a governor over to speak. So it kind of started there on that level. And then when I came back from my tour in Iraq, I can't remember what year it was. This might have been 2011, maybe. Um, and I had this idea of wanting to create an event in Greensboro that gave back to people who didn't have. So I was going around, I found an armory and I started working with reaching out to different people in the city. And I created this event, and the first time I think it brought out about 300 people, and we were just able to create it was a feeding a Christmas event for feeding the homeless, but it wasn't your typical event. It was a party. I had Santa Clauses, we had DJs, people came out, they were doing haircuts, and all these people were just volunteering. And from that event there, it just gave me like, you can do this on a different level, and just like it's your passion, you enjoy doing it. So like, let's go that route. So I ended up going back to UNC Charlotte and took a meeting and event planner course. It cost me about $2,000, and from there, the rest is history. I sold myself to different companies. They started
So
bringing me in on the tip level.
so first off, thank you for your service. And she said, I started out on a small level, but she's talking about governor's ball. She's talking about these big things. People don't get in the room with the governor to talk about an event, but that's pretty dope. When you went back to UNC Charlotte, you weren't a horrible student there because this is something that you like, right? Event planning.
Loved it. I loved it. I was a great student then
Right,
for the
right.
first time.
That's how it happened. Listen, sometimes you just go to school. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, it's like my parents were totally against it. They were like,
Mm,
who goes from a 4 year degree and you want to go take a certificate and make this your career? Like they could not understand it at all.
listen,
Crazy.
I'll tell you, my background, I studied economics and finance in school because I knew numbers. And then being in Charlotte, it's like, hey, that's the banking industry. You're supposed to do that. But then when you find your passion, mine was photography. It's like, man, listen, I'm gonna run it up. And that's where you find that you're a great student, you're dedicating everything to something that you enjoy doing. So that's what's up.
Yeah.
I want you to help talk to the audience, especially a lot of my viewers are entrepreneurs, small business owners, just like we are. And they need to know the benefits of an event planner or coordinator. Talk a little bit about why they need someone like you to put their event together.
So you want to know the benefits of being an event planner or being an
No, no,
entrepreneur?
of hiring
Okay.
an event planner. So, me as an entrepreneur, small business owner, what is the benefits of hiring you? How is that going to help me?
I make your life easier. It just comes down to it. It's just like you're good in the craft that you're in. Just because you want to throw an event doesn't know that you know all the ins and outs of throwing an event. You just may know you want to throw 300 people in a room and you want it to be grand celebration. But if you don't do events for a living, you need a person like me because you need to know how your audio and visual is going to go, how many people can fit in the room, how many bartenders you need to serve this many guests so that everything flows consistently and that your guests have a seamless experience. That is what an event planner does when they come in. They make your life easier so that you can enjoy your event, sit back, entertain your guests, and enjoy yourself. Because if you have to run around in the mix of trying to entertain, it's almost impossible. We make your
My
life easier. We like the
yes.
cleanup woman.
What is it? What was that? Olivia Pope? Y'all come in to clean that thing up
Olivia
for?
Pope. Yeah, I'm like the Olivia Pope of event planning.
I
That's
like that.
that's who I am. I call myself event planner Bay. So
Event planner Bay. Okay.
yeah.
So tell me what makes an event successful and how do you measure that success?
For me, it is seeing your client and they are just proud. Like when people are walking up to them, like, oh, this is beautiful. This is wonderful. I love the decor. This went great. And for them to just be able to sit back and be like, yeah, this is good. The people that we are trying to impress are happy and Ryan made my life easier. That is like a sense of accomplishment to me. And then there's just also there's a lot of planning that comes on the front end and it's a lot of grunt work and it's a lot of hours. But when you see that and then you see it turn into something beautiful, it's just you don't need them to tell you thank you because you see it yourself. It feels good.
Okay.
It's like that was my baby. I birthed it and I gave that client what they want.
So I heard you say it's a lot of grunt work on the front end. Just give me a little bit of insight into that, right? So I'm contacting you. Hey Ryan, I have an event that I want to do. What's the first steps? Like, how do we get the planning going from the thought all the way up to the event?
For me, my first answer, and a lot of people don't always agree with this, I need to know your budget because a lot of times I'm working with companies and corporations. You might have a budget as small as 10,000 and a budget as big as 200,000, and of course they get bigger than that. But my job, once you tell me that, is once you give me that number, I have to back in everything that you told me you wanted with the number that you gave me. So that means when I say grunt work, I may call around 10 different photographers to get quotes. I may call around 10 different caterers to get quotes and just doing research on their companies and looking at their reviews to see how they've done. Because at the end of the day, when a client hires me, it's my responsibility to hire the vendors. And those vendors are a reflection of my business because how they perform is how my client feels. So if they come in, they're late, they don't show up on time, they don't give the product that they need, my client is not going to look at them and say, what's the problem? They're going to be like, Ryan, I hired you.
That's
So
right.
that's when I say grunt work comes in, checks and balances, making sure that these people are representing you in the right light
Good
and in
stuff.
the number that you want.
Right, right. So that was a question that I had. That was a great segue. So, what is your game? You gave me a lot of it, but just go into that a little more. Your game plan on managing that event budget. You said they give you the number, you back into it. So, how do you make sure that you stay within that 200,000 that they said they wanted to spend? Okay.
calculations, like tracking numbers. And,
Hmm.
sometimes when people give you a number, a lot of time with a quote, they're not even including taxes and gratuities. So you got to be two
Mm,
steps ahead to know, even though this is just a number, there's taxes, there's gratuity, there's thank yous, there's other things that you have to back into it. And the way that I handle it is spreadsheets. Like I have a lot of spreadsheets, a calculated formula that I can plug and play numbers,
hmm.
and that helps me stay organized. And with my client, I like to give them an updated copy of that budget. So if we're 3 months into an activity that we're planning, I'll be like, hey, this is the number we started with, this is where we are now. We have extra money over here if you want me to throw some extra wow in there, or do you want me to cut that budget back? Like, and a lot of times my client will be like, I trust you, wow us, the money's there. So it's just things like that that can make or break a budget. It can be
Okay.
down to like the when the client leaves at the end of the night, I might have had an extra $3,000 in the budget that I can now give their clients something to take away at the end of the night. And that could be a setting tone if a client gives another donation or it comes back next year. So it benefits everybody.
Gotcha. So I know you work with corporate clients, and a lot of them have some pretty big budgets. But talk to me as a small business owner. How do I? So I'm gonna give you an example. I want to do what do you call it? Anniversary party. So being in the studio for X, this is my second year in the studio, right? And I anticipate having 50 guests. How do I say or determine what that budget should be? Could you help me with that? Or I just need to come to the table knowing what I want to spend?
No, I can help you with that. Like if we sat down and had a consultation and you say, Ryan, this is what I'm looking for in my event. I would like to have a little bit of food, maybe a little bit of entertainment. I want X amount of guests. What I'm going to say to you is, well, what is the number that you may want to spend? And you might just say, and I'm just throwing it out there, you might say, I want to spend $5,000 on this event. But if I can come in lower, I would like to do that too. So I'm going to say, I'm going to give you options. You can go with option A, and this is what you can get and deliver your clients, or I can give you an option B, and you have this.
Okay.
You may have said, I want to sit down plated dinner, and I'm like, Alan, that's not a good idea. Let's just do some past hors d'oeuvres. And we're not trying to make these people full, but you're just trying to give them experience. My job is to offer you different options to make your event successful and keep you in that budget and for me to get paid too. But you
I
got
know that's right.
it.
And I think that is good too because we think we know what we want, but then like some people, what do you call it? Champagne taste on a Budweiser budget.
A beer
Yeah,
budget.
you're right. Like, look, you're not getting all that, but that's good
Yeah.
that you can give different options. Like, okay, I understand this is what your budget is, but let's focus on this, or you can do that. And with some of that, it is like, hey, here's a wish list, but then here's a must have, and you're helping them decipher and what's going to be the best bang for their budget. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. So, nothing related to Ryan Mack events. This is just Ryan Mack. I want a fun fact that most people don't know about you.
I used to ride motorcycles. I had a
Really?
motorcycle once.
Really?
I did. I did. I had a Kawasaki. It was lime green with the pipes, and I
Oh,
even laid it down once. But my mother hated it, and once
uh,
I came back from Iraq, she always said, "I didn't lose you in Iraq, so I don't want to lose you on a motorcycle accident." So I gave it up for her. But I used to be a biker chick.
oh my God. I did not know that. So I ride too. So that's what. So now, hold on. She's a soldier. She's a rider. Like, I mean, girl, you got a lot up your sleeve. I feel it.
Look, I wear a lot of hats, so I can always stay employed. That's what I tell
Right.
myself.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Listen, I also want to put it here. I didn't put it into the bio, but that I read at the beginning. But you also have an event space. It's a creative space, and it's called Creative Lounge, and that's creative with a K. So I want to talk about that because Ryan, I've worked with her on so many things. Like I said, she's had so many events that she's hired me to shoot for. And then you told me a couple of years ago, hey, I want to open up an event space. And now you've opened. And this actually, if I'm not mistaken, you celebrated 1 year. At
I did.
Okay, okay,
1 year was March 4th
okay.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have an event because I had just had surgery, so I was down for the count. But I hit my 1 year anniversary on March 4th of this year. So super happy about that.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And I remember we tried to come out there, myself and my videographer, and the line at the airport was crazy. They was doing some construction here and stuff, because she's in Houston, by the way, if I didn't mention that earlier. And the airport was crazy, and we did not get out there. I wanted to be there, but we kind of saw some of the behind the scenes. But I want to talk about that. So again, congratulations on 1 year. And I want people to know you manifested this. You said this 3 or 4 years ago, and now we're here. How does that feel? And talk to me a little bit about the space.
I'm gonna be honest, it feels amazing. And me and you have had a lot of conversations about this over our journey of knowing each
Mm-hmm.
other over the
Mm-hmm.
years. And let me just throw this bug in there. You were one of the most supportive people because a lot of people didn't even know I was opening the space, but I appreciate when I was, and I was calling you about Alan, like what can I use as a backdrop and
Mm-hmm.
how would this be beneficial from a photographer's point of view. You never held back. You gave information. You sent me links, and I genuinely appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So
Oh, no problem.
thank you for that.
Absolutely.
But I did manifest it. I came out here. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my parents. I started looking for a building. I found it on my own. Signed the lease. Didn't know anybody in Houston. Was just finding random contractors, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna tell people once it's about to drop. And it was a self of accomplishment because not knowing anybody in a new city as a female and like building this project from the ground up is scary. It was
Right.
real scary. It was a lot of nights I cried because things didn't go right.
Right.
But it feels good. My goal in life, and I'm not completely there, has always been able to work 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. And
Nice.
in doing this with the studio and stepping out on faith, because I did work on the corporate side for a company for a long time doing event planning. I didn't feel like, your value was there and they didn't pay me my worth. But when I stepped out on faith and I moved here and I made these decisions to work for myself and to invest in myself has been one of the greatest accomplishments I've done. And again, let me be the first to say, and you probably know this, it ain't always easy. And I tell people, if you don't hustle, you don't
That's
eat.
right.
So entrepreneurship is not built for everybody, but if you got that grind and that rut and that go getter spirit in you, you'll make it. You'll figure it out. So for me, this has been a blessing in disguise, and I only want to see how much further I can take it because I know I still have a lot of learning to go, but I'm enjoying the process.
Cool, cool. Talking about the space, because I called it an event space. You said studio, but it's multi-use, right? So it's
It's
for
multi-use.
events. Tell us a little bit about how people use the space and what services are offered.
So mostly during the week, I get more. It's more of a creative space. So people come in and shoot for photo shoots, or they might shoot a podcast, or I get a lot of realtors who just need some photos. What do you call those stock photos? Where they can take a bunch to be able to use later down the
Yeah, the
line.
stock
They'll
images.
do brand shoots. That's more of what I get during the week. And recently, I'm happy because I'm getting more chapters to do meetings. They may come in and have training sessions, or they just may have Groove by Groove recently. They do their chapter meetings there now. And then on the weekends, you get parties. People
Turn
throw
up.
birthday parties. Recently in February, we had a 5-piece band with like a live mic night where a lady came and put on a set. And recently, I've started working with mood bartenders.
Okay.
She's coming in and doing mixology classes like on
Dope.
Saturdays where she sells tickets and people are coming in, they having a good time with their girlfriends, they booze or whatever. So it's multi-use space and everything that you need is in there from TVs to bars to lighting. Every room is set in different setups. It's everything you need in one, but it's also boutique. It only holds about 60. So
16. Okay. Cool.
and
Man, I
I've learned
love
that
that.
that's a market. Everybody is not looking for a huge event space.
You are absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I gotta throw the shout out back to you, because right after you open your space, I think 2 weeks after that is when I found my space, and I started calling you up, asking questions like, "Look now." So you were helpful as well and answered things for me, and thinking of how I wanted to position it right. And it ain't easy, and I thought it was going to be photography. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing photography here. People going to be booking it for that and stuff. And I, by chance, put the podcast studio up there. That was like an afterthought, but that's what's been driving it. So you may have in your mind, Thank you. You may have in your mind one thing that you think that the space is going to be, but the market is going to tell you, no, we want to use it for this, and being open to that and adjusting for it, I think is dope. So I love, like you said, the mixologist has the classes there. So y'all have classes, chapter meetings and stuff. You could do different things. And I love on the weekend turn up. I wish we could. We can't do the turn ups over here because it's residential.
You sure?
Right across the hall, there's residential units. I did a
Okay.
tiny desk. I did a tiny desk in here one time. So we shot their concert, and the drummer was going off, and the neighbors was like, "All right, now that's enough." So no, we
Too
can't have
much.
it. Yep, yep. But we did
Yeah.
a listening party
Wait, let
too
me say,
once.
I
Go
have
ahead.
shot in every studio that you have, but I've yet to come to this studio yet. So when I come to Charlotte next go round,
That is
because I've
true.
shot in every studio
You
you
have
have,
shot in
right?
every single one except for this one. Yeah. So
Yeah,
next time you here, make sure you stop by. Yeah.
I'm coming. And let me go back and do one more shout out.
Okay.
Do you remember my 40th birthday shoot?
Yes, I do.
You know, to this day, I am getting reviews over those photos because, like, I have a wall set up, and everybody's just like, "Is that artwork?" And I'm like, Shamar
Listen,
shot that.
I had one single tear fall when I saw that wall. I'm like, oh, I did that.
You did that. Everybody loves it
And it was
too.
crazy because you did your birthday party at NH. What was it? Novelty House? That's what it's called, right?
Novelty House, and we displayed the
Oh my
photos.
God. When I walked in there, so it was a rooftop event, people, and I walked in there and she
African.
displayed. Yes, African, everything. You had all of the decor there, but it was me stopped in my track seeing those pictures. I tell y'all better print them pictures because them pictures be looking amazing. So yeah,
And I still have them. I have them, yeah.
good stuff.
My favorite photo shoot. That was my favorite one, by the way.
And that was the one. I don't. You didn't stress. You're a planner. People, she is a planner. She's gonna plan everything out. I didn't feel like you were high stress in it, but I was like, I got to get this right. And I think we pulled it off. So it was fun for me too.
We did. We
Yeah.
did. I'd be like, do I look fat? Do I look fat?
See, I want to go tell the people.
They don't know how I be freaking out on the back end, but you
Right.
always make sure it's together. So
And listen, and I saw your brand, your lifestyle shoots out there. Locally, I ain't gonna hold you. I was a little jealous, like she working with somebody else. But it's all right. They nice photos. They nice. They're very nice. Now, if you go cheat, you better cheat up.
look, I got my Charlotte photographer and I
Right.
got my Houston photographer. I got to give a shout out to Key. She does hold me down. But did I work with anybody? I don't think anybody else has ever shot me since I met you in
Yeah, it was
Charlotte.
me. It was me. It was me.
And that
I
was like
hold
how
that.
many years?
Man, so I know at least 5, 6, because I've been in business 7, almost 8 now. So it had to be at least 6. I'm gonna say 6 years. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, would you say her name was Key? The
Key, yes.
Key,
She's
Key,
with High Peak
you're dope.
Photography.
You're dope, Key, and I'm glad it's a female because I would have felt another way if it was a guy. So keep doing your work, Key.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So now let's kind of transition into just entrepreneur world, right? So just the journey itself. You said it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Now, with great risk comes great reward, but some people are not in a position to risk, or take the risk. So let's talk a little bit about how you decided to jump out there. Not only did you jumped big, going to it. Because see, let me back up, give them just a little bit of insight. When I decided to do photography, I was in Dallas. And I said, I got to move home to Charlotte because that's where my network is. That's how I'm going to start the business and grow from there. You were already in the field, already in the business, and you decided to jump out there and go somewhere where you knew nobody, but it came with great benefits. But how did you say, I'm just going to go to Houston? I don't know them, but I'm going to figure it out.
Well, again, two different businesses. So Ryan Mack events, majority of my clientele is in the Charlotte area, and I'm
Right.
growing the clientele out here. The Creative Lounge out here is a brick and mortar, so a little different. I'm just, social media is what really gets your name out here.
Gotcha.
But what made me go ahead in with just wanting to do event planning on my own, and if I could just be transparent, I was working in corporate America and they did not want to pay me my worth. Everyone around me was getting promoted. They would tell me I was doing a great job, pat on your back, but them dollar signs never went up like I needed it to. And Just when I started putting myself out there and I started doing events kind of like outside of them, but still working for them, um, I was like, oh, so I can make this and not have to be stressed out working over here doing this with them.
Right.
And then when my job started to give me pushback, like, oh, it's a conflict of interest, even though it wasn't, but you know how that is sometimes.
Yep.
I was just like, you know what? I am 40 years old. I have put my time in. I have worked on these corporate jobs, and I've learned from the bottom to the top. So I'm thankful for those jobs because they taught me the ins and out, the contract negotiations, the all of the above. So it was a stepping stool that I needed, and I had just got to the point. I was just like, believe in yourself, go for it. Let's give it a try and see what you can do. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, you can always go back and get a 9 to 5.
That's right.
But you got to give yourself a chance first to see if you could do it on your own. And I just wanted to. Took my money from the sellings of my house, and I was like, I'm gonna invest that money back into me. That was
I love
it.
it. I love it. I love it. Listen,
Yeah.
Houston, how was it treating you?
H Town. I'm a Houstonian now.
Houstonian. Okay, it's treating you
Yeah.
pretty well, and the network out there. Excuse
The
me.
network is good. Networking is really good out here, and that's one of the things that draw me to Houston when I did move. I've never been in a city where I'm around so many people of color, and so many people are willing to network. And if they can't work with you, they're like, oh, well, let me put you on to this person because you
Okay,
may gain from having a relationship. That is one thing that I have appreciated about Houston more than any. I've never been in a city that was so opening and welcoming to networking with other people. And it's not a competition, but let me see everybody win. That's what this city has shown me since I've been here.
that's dope. That's dope. Ryan, I want to thank you for your time. I don't want to hold you too much longer because I know you're busy, but I want you to tell the folks where they can find you and how they can get in contact with you.
Well, you can visit my website at www.ryanmackevents.com. And you can always reach me by phone at 336-601-9118 and on social media. I think my IG is at Ryan Mack Events. Everything's pretty simple at Ryan Mack Events. You can call, text, or even if you just want to set up a consultation to talk to see how I may be a benefit to you or your company now or later. And I travel. Let me throw that out there. I
Yes,
travel
indeed.
all over the U.S. doing this. This is just because I'm in Houston doesn't mean that I can't show up and provide the services that you need. So reach out. I'm looking for more clients.
Good stuff. Hey, again, appreciate it, Ryan, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank
Peace.
you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.